everyone, I'm Martin Grady, otherwise known as Tishley, and once again I'm here to give you some detailed lap guides to help you out with this week's Gran Turismo daily races. We'll be going through a lap in detail, 50% speed as well, really picking out the braking points and some little tips here and there on this week's races that will help you improve your time. We'll go to a fast lap as well as look at some Delta data to see where I can improve, and hopefully that information can help identify where you can improve and certain corners you can focus on. First up then, we're going to be looking at Daily Race A, where we're at Suzuka in the A112 Abarths, Auto Bianchis, and it's 4 laps there, but this lap is critical to get right to make sure you're ahead of the game and at the front of the grid. Let's jump into the lap guide then, and let's have a look at what you can do to help you get the fastest lap time in Gran Turismo this week. So here we are on the start finish straight. We're in 5th gear right now. We're going to talk about the revs of the car in a little bit. But first of all, let's head towards turn 1. Now, turn 1 is critical to get right here because it basically sets up your entire lap and the S's here at Suzuka, which is the entire Sector 1. Now, on the left-hand side here, just before the 50 board, is this escape road, okay? Really nice brake marker. What I want you to do is I want you to turn towards the first curbing on this first turn, and then I want you to brake. And I want you to brake hard initially, and then you're going to go into more trail braking as you go through this corner. Now, you're going to drop to 4th gear as well when you do this, but you've got to do it just before you get to the escape road on that left-hand side, okay? So watch what I do now as I turn towards the corner, okay? I'm going to turn towards, I'm going to go hard on the brakes and then start to reduce my braking. So it's around 95%, then I go to 50%, I've dropped to 4th gear and I'm just trail braking all the way through. I then go to 3rd gear, just brake a little bit harder to slow the car down, still trail braking, and then I release the brakes. I let the car roll a little bit, which allows the weight to transition in this car, and then I can start to accelerate. Now, if you do struggle with some understeer, just let the car roll that little bit more to allow the weight to shift and let the car turn. We've got up to 4th gear, and what we're going to do now is lift off as we go into this first S. And then we're going to accelerate a little bit more, and then we're going to lift off once again when we get to the curb on the right-hand side. And I'm going to try and maintain 80 miles an hour through all of these corners, okay? That's the apex speed I want you to aim for. And once again, we're going to lift off as we go into here. Don't use the brakes on any of these corners, because if you do, it's going to make you have additional weight transfer, and it's not something you want at all in this. It's all about managing the car, managing the weight transfer. So just lift off, accelerate. And even if you're doing 50% acceleration, it's absolutely fine. Now, I've highlighted this marker here. This is your first brake marker in the S's. And what I want you to actually do here is just tap the brakes. Don't go hard on the brakes, just tap them. Trail brake a little bit. And the critical speed I want you to maintain throughout this corner is above 70 miles an hour. Now, you are going to drop to 3rd gear for this one. As you go through the corner, you're going to turn in, keep it tight, keep it on the curb as well. Notice there, I'm just on the brakes. What's that, 20%, if that? As we go through here, I've just dropped under 70, so I really need to get on the throttle at this moment in time because I've just gone below that magic 70. So as we accelerate here, turn a little bit later than you expect here, go up to 4th gear, and the car will then turn. So as you shift to 4th gear, the car will just turn because you're just going off power slightly, and that means you'll understeer less. It's critical you turn a little bit later and then change gear rather than changing gear early, then turning in, because you'll have to lift off massively. Just remember that as you're doing this lap. We're going to head towards Degner 1 then, and what we're looking for is actually on the right-hand side. So that's what I want you to really point your eyes to, and what you can see there is that final lamppost on the right side. Really good marker for Degner 1. Now, as you approach Degner 1, what I want you to do here is just dab the brakes and then turn in, but do not turn in to go over the curb. If you even remotely go over that curb, it's going to fire you off towards the left-hand side. I will speak English here. Instead, what I want you to do is just clip it. Just clip it slightly and let the car roll through the corner just to make sure you make it, okay? And it's critical because of the weight transfer. Obviously, if you lift up high, there's a problem. So we'll go on the brakes there. We'll let the car roll a little bit here. Notice there, we clip the curb. Then we start to accelerate because we know we've made the corner there. And we just made it just. Now, just above my head there is a Marshall tent on the left-hand side. This is your next brake marker for Degner 2. Now, for Degner 2, I want you to stay a bit more to the left for longer than normal here and then turn in. Once again, you're using the weight transfer of this car to get yourself round. You're going to drop to 3rd gear for this corner as well, and you are going to mount the curb on the inside for this one. You didn't do it on Degner 1, but you're going to do this on Degner 2, okay? Remember, the Marshall tent has to hit the edge of your screen on the left-hand side before you hit the brakes. So that's what I'm going to do then, okay? I'm hitting the brakes now, 3rd gear, stay to the left, then I turn in, I go over the curb, and then I start to accelerate once I've gone over that curb. If you accelerate too early there, the front will lift, you'll mount the curb, and you'll actually go flying understeering off again. we're going to go up to 4th gear here as we head towards the hairpin now. And we're going to go towards the right-hand side. And critically, our brake marker, it's a very obvious brake marker here. It's the end of the curb right there that I've just highlighted right now. Now, on this particular lap, I stay far to the right. I don't want you to do that. I want you to just go a little bit to the left. So you should be towards the middle of the circuit as the curb starts on the left-hand side, okay? I stay too far to the right here, and it does cost me a little bit of time on the hairpin. So just keep that in mind. Just go a bit more towards the left-hand side, and you'll be absolutely fine. You're going to drop to 3rd gear and no lower. No lower, because you do not want the wheel spin on the exit. So 3rd gear is the lowest gear you're going to in this hairpin, which will feel unusual, but just trust me. Don't say I'm too far to the right. I need to be a bit more to the left there as I come in. So I've just wasted a little bit of time here. And what I need to do then is get round. Now, notice there, 3rd gear, full throttle on the exit. It's absolutely fine. You're not going to understeer because you're not in the power band yet. Now you're just getting the power band on the exit. So it just stops that gear change that you need. You don't need it because you stop the wheel spin and then you can go. Now we're going to go up to 4th gear here. Critically, when you're revving this car, the end of the bar is literally the limit. If you go any further than that, you're going to hit the limiter, and then you'll bounce off the limiter. So just be careful of that. Notice where I'm shifting. It's absolutely fine to just short shift slightly to make sure you do not hit the limiter. We approach Spoon Corner then, and once again, my infamous brake marker I use at Suzuka, the escape road on that right-hand side. So I'm braking just before I get to that. Now, you drop to 4th gear for this first part, okay? So I'm going to go hard on the brakes, and I'm going to trail brake a little bit, and I just want the car to roll through the first part here. Again, it's all about controlling the weight transfer in this car. It's very much a weird car to drive, but also a fun car once you've learned how to use the weight to your advantage when you're turning this car. So once again, I'm going to go on the brakes initially here, okay? And then I'm going to start to release the brakes as I turn in, and then I'm going to let the car roll a little bit. Now I've got a little bit on throttle. That's just me trying to maintain speed. I highly advise you just let the car roll a little bit more. Now I've highlighted the second curb here, the second part of Spoon here, the end of the curb on the right-hand side. You need to be off the curb and you need to be braking before you get to the end of that curb because you need to get towards the inside here. If you're remotely accelerating at this moment in time, you're going to go very wide and have a very slow lap. It's critical you get the car turned in and the car's weight transitioned already onto that back right-hand side just so that you can then stabilize the car through the corner and get out nice and smoothly. And we've reduced understeer because that's a critical part of this. It's all control in the understeer here. This time trail braking, let the car roll a little bit. Notice how the car turned. I'm now happy with where the car is. I can then accelerate through the corner and happy days. We're now onto the arguably second back straight here at Suzuka. And we can just chill all the way to 130R now. Once again, focus on the revs here, making sure you do not hit the limiter. Again, I short shifted before I hit the end of the bar there. That's absolutely fine to do that. On the right-hand side here, we've got the, what's that, the 100 board there. We ignore that one. We get to the 50 board here. This is your turn-in marker. So when you turn in, okay, I want you to turn in and then lift off slightly. Now, the reason you don't lift off before you turn in, because that will cause the car to just oversteer a little bit. You don't want that. So you accelerate, you turn in, then you lift slightly. And it's only slightly. You're still on throttle, which is the critical part. Now, I try to aim for 125 miles an hour at the apex. I hit 123 here, so there's some improvement there for me. I'd aim for 123 if I was you, if you're struggling here. It's all about just maintaining car balance. You don't want to run too wide here. You can cut the inside as well. Notice I'm still on throttle, 124, 123. I've cut a little bit the inside. I'm now flat, and I can use the curb on the exit. Notice that I don't even go on the curb. That shows you how much more speed I can take through there. Finally, the final brake marker. Bit weird to say finally and finally, but on the right side there is the yellow line. Okay, it's the old pit lane. So the start of that is your brake marker. Now I want you to brake in a straight line all the way to the second board on the left-hand side that you can see in the distance, okay? And you're going to drop to 3rd gear. Once again, do not drop to 2nd gear. 3rd gear is all you need for the Casio triangle, the chicane here at Suzuka. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to brake in a straight line. Remember, braking in a straight line is 100% braking efficiency. If you're turning slightly, you're not going to hit 100% and you're going to go a bit deep into this corner. Braking earlier here is better as well because it's all about the exit. So there we go. 3rd gear, I can then start to release the brakes as I turn in. As I release the brakes, notice the car instantly wants to turn right. Accelerate a little bit, lift off. The car instantly wants to turn left. Be careful about cutting that too much. That was very much on the limit. We accelerate out of the corner. Now, critically, on the exit here, what I want you to do is keep to the inside line because that's the reduced distance to the line and therefore a better lap time as well. And that's a 218.237. What we're going to do now is go into a fast lap here then as we continue on towards turn 1. Remember, just before the 50 board is escape road. That's what we're using. Turn towards the corner and then trail brake here there, 50% and a bit lower. Drop to 3rd gear now. Let the car continue braking, let the car roll a little bit, then start to accelerate once the car turns. Head over towards the right-hand side, okay, up to 4th gear. We're then going to turn in and lift out the curbs. Then accelerate a little bit more, then lift off a little bit more. Maintain 80 miles an hour, accelerate a little bit more, turn and lift off again. Using the curves to our advantage. Accelerate more and then hit the brakes here. Trail brake a little bit, 3rd gear, maintain 70 miles an hour as we continue on through. Head over towards the right side, turn in a bit later than normal, up to 4th gear as you turn in, and then continue on through. I lifted there. You can do that flat as long as you do the gear change. Absolutely not a problem. Head over towards the left-hand side now. Using the lamppost on the right, the very last lamppost, we're going to dab the brakes, turn in. Do not accelerate until you've gone past the curb. There we go. Marginal 10 on the left-hand side, so next brake marker, turn in. Use all the curb on the inside. Accelerate through. We're going to go to 4th gear now, and then continue towards the hairpin. Go towards the right side. Go a bit more to the left here on the brakes. Where is it? There's the brake marker. Hard on the brakes. A bit more to the left there is needed. I cost myself a little bit of time. 3rd gear on the exit because of the wheel spin as we continue on through. And I'm trying not to sneeze right now as we continue through this right-hander. Now we can breathe a little bit. We've only got a couple of corners to go here. And I failed with the sneezing. So we continue on through towards Spoon then, looking towards the right-hand side. Remember that escape road? There it is to hit the brakes. Trail brake this little bit as we continue on through. 4th gear, drop to 3rd gear now. Let the car roll if you need to. Just let the car turn. Let it do its own thing, honestly. Sometimes doing nothing is better than doing something in this situation where a car is so reliant on weight transfer. Anyway, we're going to continue on now towards 130R. Remember, the board we are looking for is the 50 board on the right-hand side. The first one is 100. Ignore that. 50 board. Turn in, lift off a little bit, and maintain some throttle. Notice that the car remained very stable. Yellow line. Where is it? There it is. Hit the brakes. Drop to 3rd gear. Start to release the brakes so you get to this moment. Clip the first curb. Accelerate a little bit, then lift off for the second part. Be careful about cutting. Continue on towards the line now. And once again, this is a 218.2. That's it here from this lap, but we need to have a look at some Delta data to see where we can improve. Here we are in Delta, and I've loaded Manu Rodri's lap, another pro here at Coach Dave Academy, and Manu Rodri has actually gone 1/10 quicker, so I'm very interested to see where I can improve on this lap. So let's kick off straight into this one. I'm going to head towards turn number 1, identical here, so my speed is absolutely fine, and we go into this corner, and let's have a look as we go through. We've got to look at the entirety of the corner there, really. And we're only a little bit down, 300ths down there, so that's somewhere to improve. Manu Rodri just maintains a bit more speed through that corner. So that is a place where I need to improve then. Right, we're going to continue on through. We're 300s down there. Let's go through the S's here. Nothing much has changed there. We are half a tenth down, so we've lost... Yes, we are half a tenth down. I can't read times today. So we're 200s more down there as we get to that point. So we've lost that there. As we go through here, so we're 10th down basically in sector 1. So that is a place I need to improve. There is the 10th in a nutshell. So I expect then the rest of this lap is going to be pretty identical. So we're going to continue on through here. We get towards Degner 1. It's still the same. We get towards Degner 2. I'm at 10th and a half down now at this moment in time. So another bit of time improvement there needed. Manu Rodri just carries that bit more speed. Takes a wider line there as well. That's very interesting indeed. So we get towards the hairpin then. As we go through here. And again, we lost even a bit more time there. We're losing time on a lot of these corners. It's all about maintaining that speed, which is what I have talked about. As we continue on through here then. Get towards Spoon. Wow, Spoon, I absolutely nail in comparison. Look at this, 1.5 tenths. And as we leave that corner, under a tenth. We gained some time back there. But on the straight, arguably... for some reason, Manu Rodri is gaining more speed. Let's have a look at the gear changes then. Is this critical in any way, shape, or form? So as we go through here, let's have a look at this. What's happening here? So Manu Rodri goes to 4th early. And it's with the gear change is where I lose some time. Interesting. Very interesting indeed. So it's showing there. And we talked about this on the other corners, like the hairpin, for example. Where's the hairpin? It's down here. Where we're down in 3rd gear and we exit in 3rd gear. Manu Rodri's exiting in 4th on Spoon. And that seems to be beneficial later on the straight there. So we're going to continue towards 130R. Nothing really lost there. As we go through there, my chicane seems to be very good. Very, very, very good. It's because Manu Rodri has gone to 2nd gear. And I remember I said about 3rd gear. So what we've learned here, what we have learned on this lap, critically, the higher the gear, the better it is in this car. So highly recommend you do try the higher gears. It seems to work out very well. We've seen Manu Rodri benefiting in that with Spoon, for example. But the Casio triangle, I benefit by staying in third gear as well. So something to look at there on your laps is just staying in that higher gear. That's it for Daily Race A, though. Let's head to Daily Race B, where we're at Road Atlanta, and we're in Group 3 machinery. So we're just heading down the hill at Road Atlanta. In that bottom right-hand side, you can see +5 brake balance. And I'm in the BMW M6 GT3 Sprint model for this lap. Now, this car's a little bit sketchy in the qualifying lap, but I still found it very enjoyable and very competitive. So we're going to head towards turn number 1. What we're going to be looking for is on the left-hand side, okay? So I'm going to hide my head here because there is an orange painted barrier there that I want to show you. Now, this is your first brake marker. So what I want you to do here is I want you to dab the brakes and then let the car roll in, but make sure you turn in later than you think. If you turn in too early here, you're going to understeer off and end up in the grass and then into a barrier. You have to turn in later, but you want to trail brake a little bit and let the car roll as well. The critical part here, you have to touch the curb on the inside, okay? Watch what I do right now as I go into this. I'm just going to dab the brakes, trail brake a little bit, get the car turned in. So there's the brake in, trail brake a little bit, trail brake a little bit, let the car roll, clip the curb, and then accelerate. It's critical you clip that curb. It will just rotate the car a little bit, and you know you've made the corner. If you touch it too soon, well, it's game over. I'm just stopping it here because some of you are going to go, Tidge, this isn't a brake marker. It's not. This is a lift-off marker. So the next corner is a very critical corner to get right. So in order to get it right, you need to prepare for it. So what I'm saying here is when you get this hut hitting the edge of your screen, I want you to just lift off, balance the car and get it ready for the right-hander that is coming up, okay? Being too aggressive here will lose you so much more lap time than just being cautious and preparing the corner. So that's what I want you to do right now. I want you to lift off, go towards the left-hand side to maximize the corner here, and then we get to this point here. So on the left-hand side, we have the billboard. On the right, we have the orange painted barrier. Either of these two are great markers, but this is the moment you're then going to hit the brakes. You still can't see the corner yet, but now you're slowing down. You're as far left as possible, so you get the perfect line for this corner. But what I want you to do is to start turning into the corner. You have to be turning into it when you touch the curb on the inside, because if you're not, you're going to understeer off. The touch of the curb will just rotate the car just enough there for you to continue on. Watch how I do it right now then, okay? So we're going to dab the brakes here. We're going to release the brakes. Notice there we've already turned. We clip the curb, and that allows us to accelerate. Now, I'm actually going to clip the grass on the inside, which you don't want to do there. So that's why I have to short shift to 4th gear. Otherwise, I would have stayed in 3rd gear. I'm going to head down here. Be careful of this curb on the right-hand side. If you clip that the wrong way, it will chuck you off to the left-hand side. Now, we stay in 4th gear in this BMW. We get to this point here, okay? So, see how the curb just goes straight? And I'm going to follow that straight line. Now, I'm going to have my right tyres in the grass. My left are going to be on the tarmac or on the curb. The more, obviously, the further right you go, the more risk you are taking, but the more you open up this corner. Now, if you want to be really cautious, stay fully on the track, but you do want to open this corner up a little bit. You do this corner in 3rd or 4th gear, but this is another one of those preparation corners. The exits are far more serious than the entrance, so you need to get it right. So what we're going to do, hit the brakes, we're going to release the brakes. I do this in 4th gear. Notice there, I'm just bouncing the car as I go through there. I get over the curb, you can see the bouncing of the car there, and then we can continue on. Now I'm just highlighting this piece here, okay, because some people will go, oh, track limits, Tish, track limits. There are 2 pieces to this curb. On the left is what I've highlighted, and if you have a look at the replays as well, you'll see this. It's a proper curb, track curb. On the right is the extended curb, okay? The extended curb, if you go onto that, all 4 wheels, you're going to get a penalty. As long as you stay on that curb there, you're absolutely fine, but then make sure you get on before the end of the white line. We can continue now towards the double right-hander here at Road Atlanta. I will get my words out eventually. So what we're looking for is on the right-hand side, okay? We've got the grass going into tarmac. So at this moment, what I want to do now is dab the brakes. I'm going to chuck the car in. Once again, I need to touch the curb on the inside. This corner is cambered, okay? Now, when we go to chase cam in a second, you just be able to see the little banking that's in there, which does mean you can be that little bit more aggressive, okay? Now, when we go to chase cam right now, there we go. If you just look in the distance there, you can just see the camber. The top end of the corner, it goes in that way. So if you get on the inside, clip the curb, you're maximizing the camber. You can be very aggressive here, and that's what I'm going to try and do, okay? So I hit the brakes, drop to 3rd gear. I go in. I'm looking to clip the curb. The second I do that, I'm going to go on throttle right now because I need to be aggressive. Use that camber. I'm going to stop it here, okay? Now, somebody else pointed this out to me quite a while ago now. This curb, it has a little kink in it. You can just see it there. It goes to the left slightly and then straight. That is your brake marker. Now, what I want you to do is ride the curb on the left-hand side. You need to open up this right-hander as much as possible because you're about to go onto the back straight, which is very vital to get right because it's a long straight, long acceleration period, lots of time to be gained free of charge. So on the left-hand side here, notice how much of the curb I'm using. I'm going to hit the brakes. You can drop to first gear here if you need to. Second gear is a bit more stable, but first gear will give you more rotation. I'm going to drop to first gear now. I'll start to release the brakes. I want to clip the curb on the inside, and then I want to slowly go on the power. Notice that I was about 80% throttle first, making sure the car was stable enough to then continue on out of the corner. And now I can continue on as normal. We'll put it to 100%. There's no point going slow-mo down here. But you can breathe now. You've done most of the circuit. There's only one more corner you've got to get right. However, it's a difficult one to get right, and I'll explain it as we get down there. So we're just going down the hill now. We're going to head towards the chicane here at Road Atlanta. So on the right-hand side, we've got two brake markers. We've got the 200 board, and then we have a billboard. You can either use the 200 board or the billboard, or in the middle of these two. They're really good markers. Now, I'm trying to aim for the billboard in this BMW M6. It's got very good brakes, this car. Now, for this corner, you want to cut a lot of the first part of the chicane and not a lot of the second part, because the second part has a lot of bumps on the inside, so you do have to be careful. The first part, if you cut it, it opens up the second part, reduce steering, therefore the bumps won't have as much of an impact on the car because the weight isn't transitioning as much. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me demonstrate. So we're going to come down here now. I'm going to drop to second gear, and I'm going to go and release the brakes and turn in. Notice here how much I cut. I start accelerating. I'm going to short shift to third gear now, and as I go through here, watch my throttle. I come off there because of the bumps. If I'd stayed flat out, I'd have got wheel spin because the car's all over the place with the bumps, and that would have caused me to spin out or lose a lot of lap time with a big slide. Stay to the right as much as possible there to reduce the distance to the line. That's 117.3. Let's go into a fast lap here then. So on the left hand side, power. Just after that, hit the brakes, turn in. Make sure you clip the curb on the inside. Clip it, off you go. Continue on through. Head up the hill. Look for the hut on the right hand side. I'm going to lift off here. Then the billboard. Then hit the brakes. Third gear. Turn it in. Clip the curb. Continue on through. Over to the left side. I short shift. Just be careful of the curb as you go downhill. Don't hit it square on. Just clip it. You'll be absolutely fine. Now we're going to brake in a straight line. We're going to stay in fourth gear here. Release the brakes. Just let the car roll through there a little bit. Stay on the curb. Continue on through here. Head towards a double right-hander. Remember, looking for the grass to tarmac section. There it is. We can hit the brakes now. Turn in. Clip the curb. Once you clip the curb, accelerate through the corner. Look for the kink. There it is. Hit the brakes. First gear, then up to second. Be careful and exit. Due to power oversteer. A little bit of a wiggle there. Nothing major though. We can continue on now towards the chicane then as we go speeding on by. Look for the 200 in the billboard. Where it is. There it is. Hit the brakes. Second gear. Cut a lot of the first part of the chicane. Then short shift. Just be careful on the exit here. Then continue on through. Over the crest of the hill and shortest distance to the line right now. This has been Road Atlanta. Let's jump to some Delta data then, and let's have a look at where we can improve just that little bit more. So for this one then, I've loaded Suzu's lap. Okay, another pro here at Coach Dave Academy, and Suzu's done a 117.6, so I'm in the 0.3s, arguably a 0.4 because it's at the very, very end of the 0.3s. So 2.5 tenths difference, let's call it that, okay. Which does mean we're looking at Suzu's lap, essentially, and where Suzu can improve, and where my strengths are in the lap. So let's kick off this one then. So here is the start-finish straight. We're going to head in towards turn number 1. So about even there as we go into this turn. And as we exit, I'm up. I'm already up there. So let's have a look at the speeds as we go into this corner. So as we go into here, I'm just carrying so much more speed here. Good 4 mile an hour difference as we go through this corner. Suzu gets on power a little bit earlier than me, but by the exit, we're still up by 0.7. So we're just carrying more speed. Using the downforce of the car, we've taken the right line. We can just see the yellow line is a bit more to the left originally there for Suzu, and then comes across. So arguably, I've just taken a slightly better line, carried a bit more speed, used the downforce of the car, and that's helped me out massively here as we go up the hill. So we're going to head up to this point here. This is a very interesting moment, okay? So I want you to look at those inputs there. I lift off, which is what I said, prepare for the corner. So remember, we're 800ths here. So I prepare for the corner, I've lifted off. Suzu's gone full aggression here into this corner. So we lose a little bit of time there, but by the exit, we're up. And that's all because we prepared for the corner, and it's vital you do that here at Road Atlanta. That's the right hand at the top of the hill that you can't see until the very last moment. But we carry so much speed through here. Listen, 3 miles an hour difference, 4 miles, no, 3 still there actually, sorry. And then we can continue on down the hill, and then I have to short shift, and that's when we start to match up again. So once again, we gain 400s. Now, if we didn't have to short shift, and you can see there the yellow line is more to the left than my green line, arguably to the right on your screen, but it's the left on the circuit, so we're going that way. You can see there Suzu's taking a better line, and that's because I had to understeer a little bit because I clipped the grass. And that's the only reason for that. But even so, we continue on down here. Over a tenth ahead now. We get to this braking zone here. This corner is so difficult to get right. There's a little bit of time there, nothing major, very, very easy to get that wrong. I'm very interested in Suzu's gear selection here. So Suzu goes to third gear for this corner. I stay in fourth. Interesting. Shows you 2 different ways of doing the corner. as we head down to the double right-hander now. So as we come into here, so we're looking at about a 10th difference there. So as we go into this right-hander, we gain a little bit there in the corner, and we're just carrying a bit more speed using the camber of the corner there. Notice there we're more on the inside than Suzu's yellow line there, so we're carrying nearly 4 miles an hour difference of speed as we then go to the next corner, and through we go. So we just gained a little bit throughout that section. Let's continue on now down towards the chicane then. So we're heading down here just under 2 tenths ahead. We go into the brakes. We've lost a lot of time going into here, so Suzu's really carrying a lot of speed here, being very aggressive on the brakes. As we go into here then, and through we go. And Suzu's had an issue on the exit then, it looks like. Yeah, significant issue on the exit, because Suzu gains a little bit, but on the exit, really struggles to get the power down. And I'm just carrying more speed once again, and we're going uphill as well, so this is significant as we continue on. Now, is there a gear change there that we're not aware of? No, we're about the same. We short shift at the same point. Literally, I think Suzu's just had a bit of a moment there. In fact, you could see this on the revs down here. The revs spike a little bit, so it literally is the tiniest moment. And we talked about that with the bumps. So what we saw here in this lap is that preparing for the exit of the corner was far more beneficial than the entrance to the corner here. So obviously, if Suzu was looking at his lap, that's something he would look at and improve on. For me, I've seen that. The only place I really need to improve on really here is, I would say, this corner here, is to try and get that right. But there's a bit of luck of the draw in that corner, because that's the fast left, using the grass a little bit to take that line. So interesting. I'd say really prepare for the corners. So think about a slow entrance into a fast exit, and I think you will conquer Road Atlanta. Next up then, we're going to head to the Red Bull Ring and Group 4 for some daily race C action. Here I am then in the Genesis G70 Group 4 car, and I'm using +5 brake balance for this one as we cross the start finish line to go for our very next lap. Now, I just got my fastest lap. We're about to beat it, so we're going to head towards turn 1. I'm actually going to try and maximize the width of the circuit here by going 2 wheels over the green, so I'm on the tarmac on the left, and 2 wheels on the curb on the right. Now, in terms of brake markers here, Red Bull Ring, very common thing to go for is the 100 board, and that's what I'm doing right now, okay? The white line underneath you can use as well, but as the 100 board gets to the top of my screen, right behind that rear view mirror, that's when I'm going to hit the brakes. Now, turn 1 is a very difficult corner to get right. Turn in too early, you'll get a penalty. Turn in too early, you'll also hit the sausage on the inside. Turn in too late, you're going to run too wide. So you really have to just clip the curb very nicely, and then you should make it through fine. But what I would advise you do here is, as I go into the corner, I lift off, I get over that curb at that point, and then I'll start accelerating. Why do I do that? I do that so that the front's not lifted as I hit that curb. So as long as it's flat as I hit it, the car won't take off, and I can continue on, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Remember, just stay on the curb, the red and white curbing, and you will not get a penalty. So, a very hard corner to get right. That's what I would advise you do, making sure you take a nice wide line through the corner. Just be cautious on the throttle. Now we head to the next corner here, okay, and we've got the 100 board on the white line again. Very simple stuff. So as that disappears off my screen, I'm going to hit the brakes. I'm actually going to drop to first gear in the Genesis. Now the Genesis very much benefits from high revving, okay, so as if you're at the top end of the rev range, the car will just rotate, and that's what we're going to try and do right now. So we're going to drop all the way to first gear, being last to the late brake as well. We're going to brake in a straight line initially, then get the car turned in, and as we go through that turn, we're going to go up to second gear. Watch how I do this one then. So hard on the brakes right now. Third gear, second gear, first gear. We're starting to turn in. We have to release the brakes to get the proper turn in. We clip the curb on the inside, instantly go on throttle, instantly up to second gear when we get to the limiter. Straighten up the steering as quick as possible to stop any wheel spin from the all-wheel drive system, and then we can continue on. First gear will give you a lot of time in that corner, but we'll double check that in Delta, of course, and we're going to do that after we've done the fast lap shortly. We head down the hill, then we'll slow it down here again, and once again, it's the same brake marker here. It's the 100 board or the white line on the left-hand side. So, similar situation, as it disappears off the edge of my screen, I'm going to hit the brakes. Now, critically for this one, as you get to the end of the braking phase, you really want to get the car turned in. We're going downhill. So as you go downhill, the weight goes on the front. So if you can get the car turning, what's going to happen is the rear is going to just rotate itself a that little bit and give you a bit of extra rotation and allow you to get through the corner quicker. Remember, this car requires high RPM to get the rotation as well. So if you're at the corner and you've already started rotating, then you start accelerating, the car will just turn, and it gives you a lot of time in this lap. So that's what we're doing right now. Second gear, we go to release the brakes, get the car turned in. There we go. Happy days. We can accelerate through the corner up to third gear. Just be careful about running too wide here. I very much do the limit there. If you go further, the gravel will pull you in, and that will, of course, ruin your day with the lap. Now we're done with the 100-meter boards. We can forget about them for the rest of the lap. We're now going to aim for the 50. So we're going to drive up to the 50 right now, and we'll pause it right here. So 50 or the white line. It's nice that you got these two markers. You're going to hit the brakes, but you actually want to hit the brakes just before you get some. Now this corner is all about braking a bit earlier. If you brake too late, you're going to run wide. There's no grip on the outside. You end up understeering and you just lose a lot of time. Whereas if you brake early, you can get the car turned in. Yes, okay, you're going a bit slower, but at least you're taking a nice inside line. This corner is actually tighter than you realize. So if you're on the inside, that way you can start accelerating out this corner quite early. Again, high RPM, it allows the car to rotate. So this is what I'm doing right now. I'm trail braking all the way towards the corner. Notice that on the brakes, still on the brakes a little bit there. I get my tire on the inside of the curb there, which does help a little bit. I can continue on through. I'm going to use all of the exits, staying on the red and white curb in here as we continue towards our next marker. Now, we have the short circuit. That meets the full circuit here. Literally, where those white lines meet right there, that's where I brake when it hits the bottom of my screen. Now, you'll notice as well, I'm actually a bit wider than the circuit width here, and the reason for that is I want to maximize the angle of the corner, okay? So if I reduce the angle that I'm turning in, I can carry a bit more speed. Now, I do want to get on an inside line again. Just don't turn in as early as the previous corner is what I would advise. We've got a nice black racing line there that we can follow anyway on the tarmac. So here's what we do. Once again, we're going to trail brake into the corner. We're on the inside of that line. And we're going to get our tires on the inside of the curb. Happy days, we can now accelerate through. We can use all of the exits, staying on the red and white curbing. Do not go over the red and white curbing, otherwise you'll get a penalty. But we can now continue on towards the final two corners. So what we're going to do here is the same as turn one, okay? So we'll slow it down here. We're going to maximize the width of the circuit. So 2 wheels on the left-hand side of the green, 2 wheels on the red and white curbing. And we're using this sort of safety net here for marshals, which are obviously having a bit of a lunch break or something. We're going to use that as our brake marker. I highly advise you go to third gear for this corner, especially if you're struggling with understeer. You can do it in fourth gear, but it's quite tricky to do right without actually getting the track limit on the exit. So your choice here, fourth or third gear. You're actually going to see me change down very late because I realized I'm not going to make the corner quite right, and that's to try and get the rotation enough to get around the corner. So here we go, in fourth gear. I just noticed there, so I dropped to third gear. Now, I'm overcutting the corner a little bit, but even so, I'm on the inside of that racing line. I know I'm going to make it through the corner. We go back up to fourth gear. Similar to the previous corner, maximizing the width of the circuit here. So 2 tyres are well on the left with 2 of my right tyres on the red and white curbing. The Austrian flag is just behind my head. Don't worry, I will get rid of my head here if I haven't already done so. Literally, as that gets towards the edge of your screen, you're going to hit the brakes. Now, for this corner, it's better to brake a little bit earlier and prepare yourself for the exit because then you can maximize the attack through the corner, okay? So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to brake nice and early. I'm going to let the car roll into the corner. Now, when I get into the dip of the corner, that's where I really want to accelerate because that will allow the weight to transfer in the car. So this is what I'm going to try and do, into the dip and start accelerating. And look at that. It's a nice, beautiful line then. We stay on the red and white curbing. We can head towards the line here. And this was a 137.002. What we are going to do now is go into a fast lap. So let's look at this again. We're going to use the maximum width of the circuit up ahead, head over towards left side. 100 board is what we're looking for. Hard on the brakes, third gear. Just let the car roll, touch the curb, then start accelerating. Just be careful, track limits on the exit. I'm very much on the limit there. Any further wide, I would have got a track limit penalty. We accelerate towards the next corner. Once again, I'm looking for the 100 board. We're going to drop all the way down to first gear. We need to touch the inside curb there. We turn in into the accelerate up to second gear very quickly, straighten up the steering, continue on through. We're going to head towards the next corner now. 100 board once again. So hard on the brakes, stay towards the left a bit longer this time, then start to release brakes, turn in, into the accelerate, and be careful on the exit here about running too wide there. Continue on, head over towards the right hand side. Forget about the 100 boards now, we're looking for the 50 boards. There's 100, there's 50. Brake earlier for this corner. Keep a nice tight line for this one. Make sure you get your tyres on the inside. Perfect. Continue on through there. Head towards the next corner. As the short meets the full circuit, we're going to hit the brakes. Trail brake all the way in here as well. Get your tyres on the inside. Start to accelerate once again. Stay in the red and white curbing on the exit. Continue on through. Remember, looking for the marshal safety net now. Head over towards the left side. Maximize the width of the circuit there. We brake, we turn in, and continue on through. Maximize again. Austrian flag there. Hit the brakes, turn in. Only accelerate when you get to the dip. Continue on through. Head towards the line. And that is it here at Red Bull Ring. But we need to have a look at Delta. Where can we improve that little bit more? Here we are then in Delta, and we're going to look at Manu Rodri's lap for the final comparison this week. Manu Rodri very close to me with a 0.080. Obviously, my lap was a 0.002, so we're literally fine-tuning the lap at this moment in time. So we're going to head straight away onto this lap then as we head towards turn number 1. So 0.03 is our difference as we get to this point here as we go into this corner. So who brakes first? Manu Rodri brakes first then as we go into here. And let's have a look at this. The speeds are matching. And on the exit, Manuel Rodriguez carrying more speed. However, we've gone through a little bit quicker, which is very interesting indeed. But then we start to match up as we head down here. So no real difference there, to be honest with you, as we head towards the next corner. Let's go into this one then. We go around. Again, similar sort of things. We're doing the exact same things. So we're not really seeing anything here that could improve our lap that little bit more. We head down here then, and there's a tiny difference there. It's only 0.2, but, 0.2 significant when we look at this. We head through there. Again, there's not much difference. Through the left-hander. Oh, okay. There's a difference right there. So what happens here then? So coming into this left-hander, this is the one before the last double right-hander, the long left-hander. So I've taken a tighter line here. I'm carrying more speed as well by 2 miles an hour. As we continue on through, we get to the exit, and Rodgers then carrying a bit more speed. Nothing major there, though. So I have a better line for this corner. I've just turned in that little bit earlier. Got my wheel hooked on the inside, and that's just meant I've carried a bit more speed. Very interesting indeed. So we're nearly a 10th up at this moment in time. So we're going to head towards this corner here. As we go into here, what happens? Not much. It doesn't look like much. Maybe a little bit there. Yes, look at the yellow line there. We're just taking a slightly more inside line as we continue on through. So we've benefited from that. We're not carrying as much speed, though. So Manuel Rodriguez coming back at me. So that's a place where I did say I got it slightly wrong. I probably could improve right there. Manuel Rodriguez carrying much less speed initially there, though. So does it go down a gear? Yes, Manuel Rodriguez goes down a gear. No, it doesn't. It stays in 4th there. Stays in 4th. And that's what I talked about, 3rd and 4th gear. So Manuel Rodriguez carrying more speed on the exit because of that, which makes sense. And then we're going to head to the final corner where he's gaining on me there. But then the final corner, we're sort of evened it out as we head towards the line. So very interesting there. There's a couple of corners where I do well. The rest of them we are quite matching, to be honest with you. One of the critical corners, I would say, is this left-hander right here. And it is a critical one to get right, to be honest with you, with this acceleration period. Is we just turned in that little bit earlier, and we got on the inside, and it allowed us to carry that bit more speed. So something to look at. But the final corner, we need to get that right. The penultimate corner, sorry, not the final corner, going into there. We just got it slightly wrong, and I did talk about it on the lap guide as well. So, very interesting stuff. That's what I would fine-tune to get into the 36s here at Red Bull Ring in the Genesis G7 team. That's going to be it for me, though. Martin Grady, otherwise known as Tichling. I do hope you have enjoyed this week's guide. As always, let us know in the comments if you want to see any changes for this video. Make sure you give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you check out this Delta app. I love this Delta app. It's absolutely amazing, and you can really fine-tune. You can find the little details where you can get those tenths of a second. As always, a big thank you for watching, and we hope to see you in another weekly race guide very soon.